As a teenager, everyone always says your actions are influenced by peer pressure. Parents, adults around you, everyone. It's all just peer pressure this, peer pressure that. But now I want to take a deep dive into what peer pressure is and the struggles of peer pressure as a teenager. Yo, what's good? It's Thoks. Here we have talks about deep thoughts where you can also talk. What is peer pressure? Well, the simple definition for peer pressure occurs when you are influenced to make actions or decisions by others, most usually your peers. I know that sounded a bit too simple for what peer pressure actually is as a teenager, because it's like the main thing that everyone's always talking about in your life. Now, the challenges of peer pressure as a teenager is we all have peer pressure because we have that we want to fit in. To what exactly? What are we fitting into? We want to fit into society, the public eye. Now, the problem with that wanting to fit in is that you could want to fit in, but now you're gonna have to do what it takes to fit in. And oftentimes, what it takes is losing a part of yourself, your true self, that is. Now, why do we always want to fit in? I think it dates all the way back to the beginning of time. Tribes, find your tribe. Who are your people? Find your people. We just want to fit in to having people around us that are happy with our presence. And we want to do what it takes to get into that. That's why teenagers will participate in trends on TikTok. That's why certain posts are found cringy and weird, and teenagers won't make certain posts. It's a lot. There's a lot of peer pressure ranges in a lot of things. But now, the one thing that I think peer pressure has ruined is relationships. Again, this topic of relationships. It's not really what I really think, but for this video's sake, relationships. I think how peer pressure ruined relationships is people started being able to look into other people's relationships and how they work. And oftentimes, well, that's the point of the internet, people edit out the bad times. You won't see my bloopers on here. You won't see the times I mess up. You won't see the times I stutter. What you will see is all the things that I want you to see, you see. So that's how a lot of shit on social media works, and that's how the relationship scene works on social media. You only see the parts of a relationship that most people want you to see. And then what happens is, now that people see something good, they want that good thing for themselves. That's where envy comes from. And then you'll see a lot of people getting into relationships and things like that, trying to recreate what they saw, trying to recreate the relationship that they saw and the good benefits that those relationships that they saw come with. However, it doesn't work. Why don't I think it works? Because it's not gonna work for everyone. Not everything works for everyone. Everyone is different. What works for me may not work for you. That's why I think listening to self-improvement YouTubers or motivational speakers, this is not a self-improvement channel. I'll say this here and now. I don't want to give you advice. In fact, I hate the idea of giving advice, because I know that you have your own path. Go live life, then you'll find the advice that you're looking for. I will tell you what I think. Maybe that's what advice is. I'll tell you my thoughts and how I would go about it. However, that doesn't mean that you have to go about it the same way. It just means that you need to go live life and find out. And then you'll find out what works for you. And it's the same with relationship. This thing of taking relationship advice, this, that, and the third, is like, people don't go into relationships as themselves. They go into relationships as the identity that they're trying to see themselves as they have seen on social media. Let me use an example. That's why a lot of guys want to see themselves as the nonchalant, mysterious guy, or I don't know, man. There's just a lot. Knowing that that's not the true essence of your character. How I'm trying to continuously break free from social media or peer pressure, the pressures set upon me from the public eye, is I try to take breaks from social media, like genuine breaks. No phone, no devices, nothing. I just sit there with my journal and I listen to my thoughts and I write them down. I take walks to the park and I just sit there for however long I feel I need to, just so that I can listen to my thoughts and be with myself. And it's so peaceful. That's why I love nature, because everything that you see in nature is real. It's concrete. It's holistic. Everything you see in nature doesn't show you what it wants you to see. Nature shows you what nature is. That's why you can look at a pile of shit and say, that's a pile of shit. Or you can look at a tree and be like, okay, that's a tree. Because it's real, it's there. You see that it's a tree. Whereas on social media, you don't know. Because everyone shows you what they want you to see. And it made me wonder. It then stops you from seeing who people actually are. I think everybody is light. Everybody has light. However, don't dim your light down because someone's ego and ignorance blinds them to your light. Now this leads me to my next point. What if we actually only had 2 hours of social media a day? For some people it may be, this is terrible. No, this is terrible. This, that, and the third. But then think about it properly. Now that you only have 2 hours, now you have to make use of that time properly. Some man may spend that whole 2 hours and be like, okay. But then now it makes a lot more people intentional with what they want to do on social media. Think about it. It'll create more people that create proper content. I think it'll be good because then once your phone switches off, you don't have a choice now. Now you have to go out and live life instead of living through your phone, through your screen, and commenting on everyone else's life. That, in essence, would bring back what our parents had back then. They had true authenticity. They never had a phone or, maybe there was the television. They try and, act like the people they see on TV and stuff. But then that was about it. They never really got inside their lives. They only saw what they saw on the television. But then they still went outside as themselves, as different personalities, instead of trying to be one personality. But then the thing is, with all of this peer pressure, social media, and all this stuff, is in the end of the day, we are still teenagers. And as teenagers, we don't have the biological capacity to make the right decision. That's why we're always making effed up decisions. I still make the craziest decisions myself. That's why parents always say you don't know better, because our brains are still developing. And that's fine, because I know that years from now, 3-4 years ahead from now, I'll think completely differently from the way I think now. That's why I also have a journal, so that I can look back as I get older and say, okay, this guy thought like this. Why did this guy think like this? What is this guy on? Or I could go back and say, okay, you know what? He was actually right. That's why I recommend everyone gets a journal, so you can look back to how you used to think. Put your mind down on paper and then see what happens. It's crazy. That's the first thing that's on here. That's the first page. From Dad to Zuzo. If you don't know, Zuzo's my second name. Here's the message that he wrote for me in this journal when he first got it for me. To be successful in life, you must form good habits. Success is not an event. It is a process. It is not a destination. It is a journey. This is your journal. Visit it every day. Make that your first good habit. Put your mind on paper and see what happens. From Dad. And I cherish this journal every day because the things I have on here. I can't wait to actually grow up and actually look back and be like, yo, look at this guy. Look at the thoughts that this guy was having at that age. But I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on this whole thing of peer pressure? I know I was an extreme victim of peer pressure. How has peer pressure affected your life and the lives of others from your perspective? This has been Talks. Here we have talks about deep thoughts, where you can also talk down in the comments below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Yeah, I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.